Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement with best-selling author and fiduciary Tony Walker.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it, get more of it. The less they need it, the more they love it. And it sticks to them like glue. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
Welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And today we've got an interesting show today. We're going to just kind of jump right into it. Occasionally I like to feature our staff and employees here at Tony Walker Financial. And also to kind of monitor their progress and how they're doing and enjoying their work here and helping savers worry less about money. And with us in the studio for the full half hour, I hope you're ready for this, is my favorite son-in-law, Mr. Trey Juergens. Good morning, Trey.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Did you get up and get the girls up okay? And
girls are moving. They were watching some cartoons as I ran out the door. Shep was in the backyard barking at me, leaving. So we're typical morning at the Juergens household.
Speaking of cartoons, I still think that's a cartoon dog. That's not a real dog.
He should have a comic.
Yeah, I think if you got an artist to do a comic of him, that's just the one black eye, and he's a funny dog. Anyway, well, first of all, thanks for joining us. And I thought it's been a while since I've really just had you on just to talk about not only your experience at Tony Walker Financial that you're gaining, but also just the whole process as you see more and more clients and where you come into the process, especially with new prospective clients. So if you would, Trey, just start off talking about originally when you decided, okay, I think I want to do this thing called retirement planning, where you were at your station in life a little bit back then before we get to where you are now.
Yeah, so Lacey and I at the time were living in northern Kentucky, where I'm from, up in Fort Thomas. I was in marketing. My background's in sports marketing, actually. That was kind of what I did. Worked for the Cincinnati Reds, worked at the time when I started with you for Dick's Sporting Goods.
You weren't the guy that hollered cold Hudipole here, are you?
That would have been a more lucrative position than I had at the Reds, yeah. But no, I was kind of on my way in a career in sports marketing and enjoying myself. And then at the time, you asked me to just kind of help out with some project-based stuff on the marketing side. That was kind of my brain at the time. Helped with some website stuff, some digital marketing stuff, which I still help with here. But then we hosted some Northern Kentucky workshops, and that ended up gaining us a couple clients up there. But as I was beginning to work more and more, coming down to the Louisville office, upwards of 4 days a week, 12 hours on I-71.
That's a fun drive, too. You always were in such a good mood when you rolled in.
I-71 will really get you in a good mood to head to work and help savers.
What is the deal with that road? Well, and then you want me to get you a helicopter. I was pushing it. I said, maybe a little later, Trey, but I can't get you a helicopter.
Millennial demands, right? But no, it's been now 4.5 years full time. So before that, there were a few months there where I worked part time here and there, but 4.5 years now. Got my insurance license right when I came on board. I helped with the life insurance side of things, and now about 2 years into being a fiduciary and advisor to help our clients on all aspects of the process.
And you're kind of trudging through, no hurry, but you're going through the CLU process, trying to get those tests out of the way. That's good. So ever learning. This is an ever learning field. So now as we kind of think through where you are, and folks, like I said, when Trey first started, I need to go back in time. I think we only had, Aaron was in the production department as we record this show, by the way, on June 30th, 2021. Gina was already there. She was my media buying and helping some in the office. We were over in the little condo there. Then the Bowling Green office had 4 employees, I think, then.
Correct.
Yeah, yep. I think 4. So, decent sized little operation. It was all fine. But now, as we fast forward, of course, we have you full-time, Aaron full-time. We now have Derek Hudson helping out with production. We've got Gina. We've got, I think, 10 full-time employees in Bowling Green. Is it 10 or 9? Back I think 10, well, whatever it is. There's a lot of people.
It's grown.
Yeah, and I've really continually worked on the process, and having you around and Heather's involvement, and now Wes, my nephew, that's in the Lexington office. I mean, it's just amazing, I think, how everybody's progressed, and it's helped me to continue to see so many people, because my wife and I went to a Taco Tico kind of place and watched a band the other day. A buddy of mine's in a band, and we were sitting there, and a lady who knew of us was talking to us and said, "By the way, Tony, when are you going to retire?" You know, I'm 61. I said, "Well, why would I retire?" And she goes, "Oh, you're not thinking about retirement?" I said, "No, man, I love it. And especially if I have all these staff that's so good at what they do in the process." So, I mean, I don't know why I would ever retire. That'd be kind of crazy. I make good money. I enjoy what I do. Now, granted, as you know, I'm trying to gradually see a way to slow down a little bit. I can't keep going at this pace. And so to have you on board and all this staff is just a real blessing. So that's what I want to kind of speak to today, folks. You know, many of you are thinking, well, you know, I'm hearing more and more about retirement planning. I keep getting all these dinner seminar invitations. Everybody and his brother is wanting to talk to me about retirement. So I think people need to understand, even like yourself, if you can give people a perspective, Trey, even if you first learned the business, how we were kidding before we went on air, how scary it would have been if you just said, "Well, I think I can do this," and you just go out and host dinner seminars, which you could have done, right? You had a license.
Oh yeah, I was more than certified to start doing those.
Yeah. So what have you really learned over the last 4 years in our process, and we'll get into this maybe in the next segment, what we keep seeing when people come to us and some of the disastrous results of people who don't have a process, who maybe invested their money somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Kind of what we were joking about is the financial world is full of ideas. And if you have a credential and an idea, you can probably make a go in this industry. And that's kind of the problem, is we have a lot of folks that come in and they were pitched an idea, sold a product, and they come to us with no plan to support that idea. And it's kind of our job to help them pick up the pieces and form some plan out of it. And I've been, as you mentioned before, blessed to have this process, because I could have gone flying into the industry trying to figure it out, but being now the full-time fiduciary here in the Louisville office with a plan and a full staff, understanding who does what, how we help out these savers, I know exactly what to do, when to do it, how to communicate that to the client, and it's because you've seen 15,000 savers to be able to build out that process. So speaking to the process, it has allowed me to really understand how to help someone come up with a game plan that fits their specific needs.
Yeah, I kind of equate it. That's a good way to explain it, Trey. I kind of equate it if maybe somebody has a body shop and could build automobiles, and they're thinking, well, I can just build some automobiles, and they don't understand what it really takes to have an assembly plant, you know, to take something from scratch and build automobiles. And when we have a process, I know a gentleman flew in from Des Moines that wanted to see what we do that's in our industry. And that's kind of what he said. He said, you have almost created an assembly process here, and that was hard to build out. But once you build it out, you can, I'd say like this, you can plug people in, and they see the process so they can help people immediately. If you took somebody out, well, you took me out. I've driven a car all my life, but if you took me out to Ford, and I used to work on cars. I took auto mechanics in high school. Back then I was a decent mechanic. But if you just said, hey, Tony, go out to Ford, and we're just going to plug you in, get you over in paint and body and let her rip, partner, it'd be a disaster, right? Because I don't know the process. I don't understand the process. And the problem in the financial world, folks, the reason many of you, as Trey put it so eloquently, you're jumping on these ideas and buying products is you have no plan and you have no process. So when we come back, I'm going to kind of have Trey, we're going to go through the life and times of Trey and Tony in the Louisville office. Yesterday was Tuesday, and it was a pretty full day, wasn't it? I mean,
17 total appointments. 18 include, we had a drop-in. So
okay, 18.
Pretty busy day.
Yeah, and I started, my first client I saw was at 9:30. I didn't leave here last night till 8. Did you realize that? I know you were left a little before me, but so yeah, I mean, we work really hard and we see a lot of people, and people, again, you can share the story when we come back. How in the world do we pull that off? How in the world are we so accurate and precise and so thorough and organized at helping this many people? Well, you're going to find out when you come back. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker with my favorite son-in-law, fellow fiduciary Trey Juergens. We'll be right back. Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Tony Walker here, and I want you to stay tuned because this is some good stuff, because where we're coming at is from the perspective of my favorite son-in-law and fiduciary, Trey Jurgens, and how quickly he realized once he got exposed to our process, the Worry-Free Retirement, how complicated and involved it was on the back end, but on the front end, why our clients feel like this is a pretty simple process. I used to study under a gentleman named Bob Castellone. And I don't think he coined this, but it's a true point. Also, Dan Sullivan and Strategic Coach taught me this, kind of the same concept. There's front stage, backstage. So, we showed up to watch Scout's little recital. I don't know if we can use that as an analogy. That was pretty wild. but let's say a well-done play. You show up and you sit down and relax, and the curtains open, and everything's perfect and beautiful, and all the actors are doing great, and it's like, well, that was wonderful, that was beautiful. But if you walk behind stage, I'm sure Aaron, our favorite financial sidekick, could relate to this. Behind stage, it's chaos, it's mayhem. They're putting dresses on, their suits on, whatever they're doing. But then they come out and the audience sees perfection. That's kind of what happens in our process. There is so much that has gone in over the years to build out the Worry-Free Retirement. And that's the reason I went to all this trouble, Trey. And that's the reason I have staff and proprietary software. The client needs to see simplicity. They need to understand what we're talking about, what we're communicating. And then when they walk out the door, the experience has to be, this has been a good experience, right? That's what it's all about.
Exactly right.
So speak to that a little bit, that you, because what happens, folks, a lot of times, like yesterday, and this is the value of having Trey in the Louisville office full time when I'm up here. Many times when somebody says, we had several say, all right, I'm ready to do business. I want to do business. Let's move. So I'll bring them back to you. Or some people, when they're finished getting all of their documents in and binder, they're becoming a client, then they meet with you so you can go over everything one more time, make sure they understand it, give them a little bit of time, make sure it's over. So kind of go through the experience that you sense people feel on both those ends, those that are coming back to do business, those who have just done business, and meet with you, if you could.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, a lot of the times when we meet with folks, what they're deciding to do is move their life savings over to a plan that we've come up with. They've committed to that plan, which is part of our process, and then the onboarding begins. Yesterday alone, you brought 5 folks back to me ready to do business. We jumped right in, explained how we were going to help them. When I first started in this industry, I realized kind of what the products were, how to invest, but getting the money where it needs to go, some of these savers are totally lost. So as much as we can do to explain that process and get to that final delivery appointment, and I'll talk more about that, makes it a lot easier on the saver. Because as soon as any issues arise, or as soon as somebody on the other end of that investment starts questioning what idea that we've come up with, they might start getting a little nervous. But knowing that we've done this thousands of times and we treat it every time as the most important money in the world, it really kind of takes the ease through the process and allows us to get the money ultimately where it needs to go. So yesterday, it was, how the heck do you keep up with all this paperwork?
You mean this was one of the new clients?
Exactly. Yeah, you brought her back. We had a plan. You talked through everything. I kind of recapped what we were doing to kind of go into the onboarding process where it began. Started pulling some paperwork, started getting copies of IDs, all the important stuff we have to do. And she was just, her head was spinning. But as soon as I slowed down, I took out one of those onboarding sheets that we have.
Okay, cool.
A great piece that we've allowed some of our clients to see the process of timeline of how this money gets to where it needs to go. And she started realizing the pieces in the staff, and I took out a staff sheet, showed who Connie was, who was going to take this app and take
put
the
a
money
face with a name and
exactly.
all that. Yep.
So her understanding the people, understanding the process, understanding that we've done this before. It's not on them to call these folks.
They don't have to do anything.
They don't have to make any phone calls. They don't have to submit any paperwork. We'll take care of all that. that was a huge weight lifted, because not only they're moving their life savings, they don't have to worry about trying to do it right, incurring any taxes, any penalties. We handle all that for them. So the next step is kind of getting that culminating appointment of the delivery, whether it's annuity products, life insurance, Charles Schwab investment accounts. We have a final binder. We have folders specifically for future statements. We have the actual contract, and we come together for another half hour, 45 minutes, however long it takes to answer any final questions. And that's kind of the start of that last step in the process, to monitor your progress, which is where I've helped more and more Louisville clients here in this office.
So let's go back a minute. So that onboarding process, and we've really worked on that. I think I wouldn't say perfection. Nothing ever gets totally perfect. I always kid around. The goal is to pursue perfection, but we've gotten pretty good at it. And so, folks, we have 3 departments, and then we have the insurance department. So if you wanted life insurance or long-term care or Medicare supplements, Trey's in charge of that department. Then if somebody says, no, I want to also include some annuities. We do a ton of annuities. We're very good at that. Although it was funny, somebody yesterday said, I got to ask you something. You got all these TV shows and radio shows on. You have to pay for those, don't you? Or do you have sponsors? And I laughed. I said, yeah, I've got a sponsor. She goes, who's that? And I said, Tony Walker Financial. But no, yeah, we have to pay for all that. And she said, well, do you mind me asking, how do you afford it? Well, obviously, we have a lot of money under management, but with my overhead, if we didn't sell a boatload of annuities, it would be hard to afford it. So that's the other thing, folks. Annuities pay great commissions to people. That's why you better make sure you don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. What we have 2 people yesterday, we're having to take their annuities from their advisors. We don't get any money for this, and service the darn things. They don't even know what to do with them. And most of them aren't stuck. I mean, we've almost got to keep them. So that's one way we make our compensation, through the sale of annuities, and we have a department, as Trey was saying, that onboards those annuities. Make sure we're searching for the right annuities. We have various companies we use. We're not beholden to any one insurance company. We'll look at a vast variety of them. And then the third onboarding, which really has become integral. Boy, who would have ever thought, when I decided to relaunch the Schwab program I used years ago in 2017, that we would grow from 0 assets basically when we started it, as of the date of this recording in June 30th, 2021, I think Shannon said we just crossed 150 million.
Yeah.
So, but boy, Shannon Ross and now Keith Fuqua and Lisa Potter under her helm there. I mean, folks, it's amazing how quickly and how rapidly and how efficiently those folks work. So if you're sitting there right now and you're going, gosh, Tony, yeah, that's probably one reason maybe I haven't talked to you all. I don't know anything about this process of moving a 401k over. Maybe you've got a broker that's no longer in business or retired. We're running into that more and more. And then the person they liked retires, and then they have a young rascal like you that comes around that's not trained, maybe, unfortunately, to handle their account, whatever it is, or money languished in the bank, and they're saying, well, I want to work with you all, but this whole onboarding thing that Trey's describing, I'm kind of nervous about. Folks, this is, as Trey said, this is all we do. We do hundreds of onboarding folks per year. We know what we're doing. We're happy to meet with you. There's no cost or obligation to meet. So why don't you do this? If you're sitting there right now, maybe you've got a former 401k, current 401k that you can move, an IRA that nobody's handling, you've got an annuity you don't understand. Maybe you've recently been to a dinner seminar before you accidentally maybe get the wrong annuity, get stuck in the wrong annuity. Talk to us first before you bite on that annuity or that idea. And then maybe you've got an inheritance. Well, we're seeing a lot of people getting inheritances, aren't we, Trey? And they don't know what to do with this money.
Yep.
Anything like that. If you would like to set up a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, or if it warrants, we'll be happy to meet with you in person. I'll be happy to meet with you. I had somebody yesterday laugh and say, I didn't know I was going to meet with you. I said, we told you we would. So anyway, you want to meet with me in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started button, or give us a call, 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. Okay, when we return, Trey, I want to talk to you a little bit about this whole monitor your progress thing, how we are really developing out a lot of different ways to follow people's accounts much more efficiently and stay in touch, because that's the other thing. I think people worry a little bit, okay, Tony, you're growing over there and, you're not going to be here forever. If I do move my money over there, I guess, Tony, How am I assured that you all are going to stay in touch with me for the long haul? Well, I'll tell you how we're going to do that when we come back. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Worry-Free Retirement. This is Trey Juergens, full-time fiduciary here in the Louisville office. And Tony, I know one of these things we've been talking about are the various ideas the financial world just keeps slinging out there in hopes that folks bring them some money to put that idea to work, invest that money. The latest being Roth conversions. I just Google searched it before we started the radio show. And I think in the past
What did you Google, by the way? What is a Roth conversion?
I just put Roth conversion.
Oh, okay.
And I specifically did this on Google News.
Okay.
What that does, it shows your interest. So if you're of age of a Roth conversion, I'm actually in here because I'm a financial advisor. They know I'm somewhat interested in money. In the last 2 weeks, there's been 37 articles published about Roth conversions.
Just in 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
And can you get a feel for them? Are they favorable? Are they one size fits all? What kind of is the feel that you see?
All over the board. And that's the thing, is this idea it's
all over the board, meaning some probably think it's great, some don't. Is that what you mean by all?
Here's two.
Okay.
Be careful with a Roth conversion. So there's one side of the story. And then this one was funny. Derek and I were laughing about this. The Billionaire's Guide to Roth IRAs. So that's...
Yeah, you billionaires out there, take note.
$7,000 a year at a time into a Roth. Yeah, but these ideas are to spark interest. It's to get somebody, hey, this financial advisor has this idea. I haven't heard that before. So all of a sudden it differentiates this advisor, but that's all they've got. They've got an idea that is not a retirement plan. And we run into this far too often, whether it's a annuity sold at a dinner seminar, because a dinner seminar is always a great idea, and then a Roth conversion being the new hot topic. So then they come to us, Trey, Tony, what have I done? How do I fix this?
Yeah, that's a good point, folks. So Trey's right. You know, sales is really just pitching ideas. There's more to sales than that, though. Sales is also following up with service after the sale. And I think the real danger what Trey's saying here is an idea is not a plan. Now, the ideas certainly can fit into the plan, and the reason we're talking about Roth conversions is because it's such an important area of consideration. I'll say consideration, because we look at Roth conversions. Some people come in, I can look usually in about 2 minutes. I've done these so many of these. I'll look at them, I'll say, you're not a candidate. Well, I just read an article. I just did this. I got that tax tumor you keep talking about, Tony. I'll say, believe me, you are not a candidate. You're not going to like this. Some people will come in, I'll go, ooh, have you ever thought of a Roth conversion? Why is that? I just know they're going to be a good candidate based on their finances, based on the family members. It's a lot that goes into it. So it's going to be 2 great episodes coming up on the Worry-Free Retirement. We're going to talk first of all about the window of opportunity called the Roth conversion. And then the second show I'll be doing that following week, we'll be talking about the pros and cons of a Roth conversion, who's a great candidate and who maybe is not. So Aaron, I know you're not mic'd up, so what would those dates be of those shows? Can you do the math real quick? So the show we recorded this morning, Roth conversions already, and then we'll do another one. So
those are going to air on the 12th and the 19th of August.
Of August, wow, so we're way out in front. So yeah, so make a note of that. If you are thinking about a Roth conversion, somebody's been pitching one to you, August 12th and August 19th will be 2 different radio shows. Now, if you're sitting there saying, well, Tony, I got to make a decision now, or man, I'm antsy. I just talked to somebody about that. Well, don't wait for the radio shows. If you're thinking about a Roth conversion, want to know how they work, certainly we'd be happy to talk with you. We're well versed in this area. We've even got a full-time tax certified expert on staff that can run some numbers if we need to. All you got to do to talk to us is go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or give us a call at 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. Okay, Trey, I kind of want you to take a stab at this. I'm going to kind of blindside you on this, but on our time remaining, I want you to describe to the audience, now that you're kind of an outsider, been here 4.5 years, you were throwing hot dogs to people at the Reds game and helping with marketing. Now, I know you did more than that. But actually, you worked with a large orthopedic firm and did some pretty sophisticated marketing with them after the Reds, right?
Yeah.
And then you worked with a large retailer, so you've got a lot of experience. But my point is, what could you tell people that are still wondering, wait a minute, how's Tony do all this? And speak to our process, and in particular, we don't want to leave out Gene in the Louisville office, but that Bowling Green office, and how well of an oiled machine they are, and how those folks know their roles and their specific roles, and how quickly we can respond to people's questions as they become clients and as we monitor their progress over time.
Yeah, so the process is, like I said, that is the whole reason that allowed me to jump right into this industry, obviously with a great teacher, but with the staff supporting the process, we know kind of whose court the ball is in at all times, whether it's in the annuity department, insurance, and investments. And as that all culminates there, that kind of delivery appointment where everything is done and finalized, that's just the beginning. And that's where I think the industry has kind of dropped the ball, keep using these sports metaphors, but is the monitor your progress is.
Yeah, let's stop there a minute. Yeah, so for your perception, now that you're kind of seeing all these people come in, some of them quite disgruntled, quite frankly, or dismayed, maybe it's a better word. Where is the industry where's the disconnect for them, and why do you think there's such a disconnect after the sale?
Yeah, so the sale's made, the check is cashed, and the wells run dry. A lot of times, especially with annuities, you've sold someone an annuity, they've probably went right up or sometimes above and beyond suitability for how much of their assets could be put in.
They put way too much in annuities.
Exactly.
We see that a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not super liquid products if you don't plan correctly for them. So then they come to us looking for a plan. They've already got the product. Not all the time a bad product, but no plan for it. So that's where the industry has dropped the ball, is the service after the sale. And that's where what I've learned in our Monitor Your Progress, that fifth and final step in our process, we have just continued to try to do better and better and better. And what we've done, obviously once a year we're meeting with all clients, whether it's by phone call, in person, but we have these different touch points that we're continually trying to make sure our clients understand what they've got, kind of remind them back to that initial time and that delivery appointment, how we explained everything, when they anticipate using this money, if they need more money, if something else like inheritance comes up, how to put that into the model. But the way that our staff all comes together, whether it's beneficiary changes, address changes, you call us, you talk to a human.
Need money.
Yeah, exactly. Need money, need a distribution, whether it's to start mailbox money or get Charles Schwab distribution. We've got a human that's going to help them.
And yeah, you mentioned that, even the mailbox money in our closing time. What's been really cool lately, of course, we've been, the annuities folks are what produce the mailbox money, but over it seems like the last several years, we have more and more people, I always call it, we're turning on the mailbox money. They're starting to now get this lifetime income, and some people don't even really believe it, even though we told them it would happen. I had a lady the other day, and she kept saying, Tony, so wait a minute, I think it was like $12,000 a year, which is a lot of money to her. She goes, so if I live to 90, I'll get this $12,000 a year, guaranteed. I went, yep. And she just kept going. If I live to 100, what happens? I'll call her Jane. I said, Jane, you're not going to outlive this money. If you live to 110, you're good. So I think that's it, folks. You've got to have a plan. You have to have a process. This is not just about ideas, as Trey said. Yeah, the ideas are great, but if you don't have a way to verify if the ideas are going to fit with what you want, who needs another idea? I mean, there's plenty of those out there. We just talked about how many Google articles are out there, all kinds of ideas, but are they right for you? Well, if you're thinking, I need an advisor that's right for me, you've come to the right place. Why don't we talk? There's no cost or obligation to meet by phone or in person. Just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or give us a call anytime at 877-499-9255, 877-499-WALK. Well, we've enjoyed being with you today. Trey, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, and we'll see you next week on the Worry-Free Retirement. Make it a good one.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.